Guys, this video is going to blow your mind. You're going to be like, wow, this is crazy. I'm going to show you some things today about this colony that we looked at in the last video. And you're going to be so surprised. Number one, what we find. Number two, what we're going to do to try to get this through the winter, because it's quite honestly, it's a mess. It's not going to make it the way it is. There's no brood in there, right? So what are we going to do? It's going to be so fun, and you're going to learn so much. Stay with me all the way to the end of the video. And we're going to have a giveaway today. Look at this. Pierce Beekeeping Company was so gracious to donate this comb honey cutter valued at 170 bucks. Look at that. It is beautiful. And I want you to win it if you love making comb honey, or maybe this would be the first time that you might experiment with it next year or something. This will be great to win, so stay tuned. I'll tell you how you can win this. One of the worst things to happen for a beekeeper is to lose your queen in the fall, guys. That's really tough. And you know, what do you do when you lose your queen in the fall? Because number one, you're not going to be able to find a queen. Most queen producers are done for the year. Very hard to find a queen. And if you want to move a frame of eggs over to that colony that's queenless now, let's face it, if you live in a place where winter is soon around the corner, they're not going to have time to raise much brood, even if that queen goes to work. So you're kind of left in a predicament, aren't you? Like, what do I do? This hive doesn't have any brood in it. That was the case in the last video I made, and I promised I'd come back and show you what I'm going to do to fix this colony. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is, what are the steps you use to evaluate what to do next? Number one, the first thing that you do is you wait 5 to 10 days, you go back, you look for a queen. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to make sure they are indeed queenless. There's no reason to go to all this trouble to combine a hive or replace a queen if indeed they're in the process of making a queen. Now you might ask, how can someone know, how does a beekeeper know if they're in the process of making a queen or not? You open up a hive, you look around, you don't see a queen, you don't see queen cells, so you conclude there's no queen, right? Wow. Because you may have inspected your colony right at the time where maybe your queen was taking a mating flight. In the case where they are raising a queen and she's out on a mating flight, you might want to wait until around 6 p.m. or maybe an hour before sunset. Most queens are back by then from their mating flight, and so you can inspect and see if they are raising a queen and she's back from a mating flight. So that's what we're going to do today. In just a minute, we're going to drop back in there, take the hive apart, and look more carefully to see if we have a queen, or look a little more carefully to make sure we don't see any eggs or larvae. And if we conclude we don't have a queen, it's time to roll up our sleeves and make some decisions. What are those decisions that we're going to make? Let me take you through the scenarios. Number one, I can buy a queen. Nope, not going to work. No queens for sale anywhere. Just flat out not going to happen. Let's say that I was able to buy a queen and I put her in there. Well, there's a problem. The first thing about putting a queen in this time of the year for me here in Illinois is my temperatures are going to be cold the next few days. Today and tomorrow are the last 2 days I'm going to have where the high temperature gets into the 70-degree Fahrenheit. And so what that means is it's getting cold at night. Last night, it got down to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 4 degrees for those of you that like to know Celsius. So it's kind of cold in the evening. Bees cluster when the temperature gets around 50 degrees Fahrenheit and below. So what good is it going to do if I put a mated queen in there if they're clustering 12 hours a day? They're not able to really raise a lot of brood, having to cluster a lot. Now, that's a predicament I'm in. So if it was in the spring or summer and I lost my queen and I could tell they needed a new queen, not a big deal. Drop a mated queen in there. They got plenty of time to raise a lot of brood. Not the case now. Now, they will keep laying eggs in most of my colonies. I keep feeding them. That's what I'm telling you guys to do. You want bees of winter physiology, but that's provided they already have some. In the colony that's under question today, not much brood in there at all. They don't have a good start. Even if the queen went to work and they were able to raise a lot of brood in the next few weeks, you know, they don't really have a lot of layers of brood. She's just going to lay eggs today, and whether or not she can lay enough to make enough bees of winter physiology is worrisome. So I think the best thing to do in my situation is to combine them. Now, some of you may say, why don't you move a frame of eggs over and let them raise their own queen? That's not going to work either this time of the year because number one, it's going to take 30 days for them to get a mated queen, for her to go out and get a mating flight. And number two, they're killing the drones. So if the queen goes out on a mating flight, there's no drones out there to mate with. So that's not going to work either. But it's really, if she did mate with some drones that are still around, it's going to take 30 days for her to start laying. That's going to push me into the first week of November, not leaving her hardly any time at all of good temperatures to lay well. Once it starts cooling off and the days get shorter, nights get longer, not as much sunshine, cool temperatures, not much to forage on, the queens just idle back and they're laying tremendously. So the only answer to me is let's get this hive combined. Now it's time for me to get ready, get in that hive, let's inspect it. Yeah, let's put all eyes on there. I want you to be watching too. You can help me out. You guys oftentimes see the queens on the video. So we're gonna look for the queen. Again, we're gonna look very carefully. I'm gonna get some good reading glasses to focus in on eggs. And we've got a good sunny day, almost 77 degrees Fahrenheit. I have no idea what that is Celsius. And then we're going to just jump in there and see, indeed, are they queenless? And if they are, we're going to combine it. I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get to work. Okay, this is the frame of honey, all capped over. No brood there. We're just going to inspect, see if we possibly see the queen anywhere. Since I'm inspecting this colony in the fall, I am having to work a little faster than I normally would. All capped over. Again, we have seen the queen sometimes up here in honey supers, but it is kind of rare. I don't see any brood at all. Now I'm just going to scan down and see if I can see brood on any of these as I move them around, and I'm not. All these are capped over fully all the way down. So heavy. All capped over honey, a little bit of nectar at the bottom. So let's look for the queen. There's a lot of bees there, but this is, as you can tell, just a frame of solid nectar. And I'm looking for any evidence of a queen or eggs, and there won't be any there based on all the nectar filling up all those cells. There's no place to lay. Let me pop in here real quick, tell you about the book that Sherry and I wrote, Backyard Beekeeping, Everything You Need to Know to Start Your First Hive. Sherry wrote half of it, I wrote the other half. You're thinking about starting beekeeping in the spring, or you started this year, but you found yourself not really knowing what you need to know. This book may really help you get off to a better start next spring. Check it out. If you buy it off our website, we'll autograph it for you. So check out the links in the description below. Now let's get back into that hive. This frame, still no sign of any brood. It's all just honey and nectar. I'm getting closer to the center where the brood could be. I think that's where we saw it last week. So we're going to take a look and look a little closer this time for the queen or any brood. All right, here we got to look carefully because we have a lot of open cells that they have actually dried out. And that means that they've actually spent some time getting these cells ready for the queen to lay in. So why would they do that if she's not in here? So I'm going to look for several things here. Going to look for the queen. If I don't see the queen, I'm going to look carefully for eggs. Okay, don't see the queen. So let's look at the other side. So as I begin to examine these cells and look carefully, I am seeing eggs in the bottom. So this frame of open cells right here, I have identified eggs. So that means all I need to do now, I just want to find the queen. Now someone might say, well, maybe they've been queenless and the workers are laying, but they don't have the appearance of laying worker eggs. They're not many in a cell, not multiple eggs in a cell, and they're not along the walls. They are in the base of these cells. But nothing real impressive, so we are going to keep looking and try to investigate. Now this hive is extremely gentle to work. Very nice. I think I could work this without gloves or even without my bee suit on. But in the fall, you never know, so I like to be ready just in case. All right, so this is a frame that has a queen on it. So here you can see the queen is located walking around. In the center toward the edge of the frame. Is she a new queen? Has she been replaced and she's kind of getting her bearings on laying again? Or has she just backed off from laying? Darker in color. Many of you ask me about the color of the queen. You tell me that you think you can tell what kind of queen, what kind of characteristics the queen will have, or some of you say what race she is based on her color. The color can kind of be across the board no matter what their origin might be. So but she is a darker queen here, darker color. Now, even though we have the queen here, we are still wondering, are there eggs on other frames? So let's look at the frame here next to the one that she's on, see if she's laying any eggs. If not, probably just a good example of how this colony may not really be laying a lot of eggs based on the time of year and not being fed. So it's possible that if I start feeding this colony, that the queen could be encouraged to start laying more. So you can see here, it's just stored resources here and not much brood at all. So you should be concerned about this hive, because we don't see any brood, but we're starting to see eggs, and we're heading into winter with no bees of winter physiology. Now, the entrance of the hive, a lot of you felt like, you know, it may be queenless based on the inactivity or the lesser amount of activity compared to the one beside it that had a queen. But on the other hand, this colony is, this hive is well populated with bees. There's a lot of activities, there's a lot of stored resources. There's just not much brood. Maybe they have replaced that queen, that even though she looks like she's been in the hive for a while, maybe she hasn't. We just don't see an abundance of any larvae. Over here, we do have some cat brood, but it's pretty spotty. But let's smoke them and see what's in the bottom deep. All right, so hopefully we look into some of these frames here and find some brood. Come on, brood. Okay, we'll pull this frame up here, and you can see my concern. You would think that this would all be filled up with brood. But there just isn't any brood there at all. No eggs, no larvae, no capped over pupae, nothing. So what I want to do is look more carefully at this frame to see, has the queen laid eggs in there? No, there are no eggs in on that frame. This is a tough call, because if this queen is there and she has history, she's failing, and they failed to replace her, then we're in trouble. What do we do, right? What she has laid has emerged, and she hasn't laid anything since that time. Nothing in the brood nest area down here. Some of you suggest that maybe the queen has just slowed down, but you know, again, we've looked at other colonies and they have not slowed down. All right, so since things are unusual, I'm going to take some unusual activity. Here's what I'm going to try to do. All right, so I know the queen is not in this bottom deep. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to give them another deep hive body that I have a single deep with a good laying queen on it. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back here to this single deep here, and I'm going to combine it with the hive over there, because this single deep, as you can see, is strong and it has a good laying queen. So we're going to combine this to the hive that has a questionable queen. All right, so let's make just a slit, a little slit over here somewhere between the frames, nothing real big. All right. Okay, so now we're going to combine this deep here right on top of the paper. Make sure it's squared up. So there's a queen in here, no queen in the lower deep. Our queen is in our super over here. So now we can actually give this hive here back one super. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them back our first super. It's the heaviest. So as you can see, the foragers are wanting to come back where the hive was, but we took it away with their queen. Now what we're going to do is drop our super with the queen in it over here so we can evaluate the queen. If you're enjoying this video so far, please subscribe. You can see I'm working hard to help you make fewer mistakes and keep healthier bees. And you're going to do it by hitting the subscribe button and clicking on the bell so you'll be notified each time I make a new video. Guys, listen, it helps me so much when you give me a thumbs up. It really helps the video get passed around more. So please give me a thumbs up right now. Here's what we've done. This hive did have the bottom deep on it and 2 medium supers. And so we questioned the queen, and we don't have a way. I don't want to kill her just yet because she could be a new queen. So we have our original bottom deep, plenty of places for the queen to lay. But this second deep here is the single deep that we combined. We moved it from its location over here. And we knew our queen was in that super, so we gave them the super without the queen. And then over here, we moved over the super with the queen into this colony that had nothing at all. We just laid it on top of a bottom board. This gives us a chance to evaluate this particular queen over the next few weeks and see how she does. Here's how you can be eligible to win this comb honey cutter from Pierce Beekeeping Company. All you have to do is leave a comment below and let me know what beekeeping has taught you as a person. How has it made you a better person? How has it helped your mind or has helped your heart? Leave a comment below. And then after a sufficient time, I will draw one person, one comment below just at random, and you'll be the winner. Got to live in the 48 states, and we'll ship this to you worth $170. Good luck, everybody. Today's video started because we were wondering if the entrance tells us much about the hive. If you didn't see that video that I just made, I want you to meet me over there. This is a good video. Does the entrance really tell us anything?